caravans pouring all over the place. Oh shit, the sturgeons are starting up again. And with that said, this seems like a good spot to break these episodes up. We had that messy siege there. So welcome back again to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment's YouTube channel. This channel is focused on all things tactically related, but especially this Aserai campaign at the moment. Let me show you our expanding kingdom here. And there have been a couple developments to update you on. I'm probably not going to show that very messy siege at Medeni Castle. Here's the first development. There's one good development, or a great development, and then one not so great development. So our good old friend Guzid here is clearly sieging the Western Empire. They declared war against the Western Empire not too long ago, and our old drinking buddy here, in fact, he's last seen near Physion, right? So guilty as charged. This guy is sieging the Western Empire. It's beautiful. The Aserai basically here are forming like a Western front, sort of dividing our foes, right? Pushing in on the Western Empire, keeping them occupied. Now, the other development's not so good. This happened a few days ago, but I'm probably going to start a new episode here. So, Sturge declared war on us, right? In fact, they're at war with only us. Now, that's a problem, right? Not only are they a very long ways away with this Hitler-looking motherfucker and a terrible birth control haircut, but we have no armies besides our army. Of course, Wazuban has the main army. Now, there are a bunch of smaller forces that could make their own army, so I'm very much hoping that these guys sort of hold the northern front, right? These guys can play in the snow and we'll go play down in the desert. And so to that effect, I'm going to pump them up with more influence here. But obviously, it's not a great situation because that is several days away, right? They're way up north. It's extremely unlikely that we'd be able to head up there. Now, I did play the good general, right? We shoved the main frontier cities full of troops. In fact, that's the least defended at Tael, and they have almost 800 defenders still. So we're feeling pretty good. Now, down in the south here, it's been an unloading of our forces. And what I mean by that, it's been a violent invasion. Now, we just had a disastrous siege assault of Medeni Castle. Just like his father, he fell off the ramparts, doesn't know gravity particularly well, ate shit, and then the whole assault went sideways, and we suffered an enormous amount of casualties compared to the other assaults. But the rest of the Southern Empire has just been crumbling like a weak bitch, and they are down to this little pocket of territory. So the Southern Empire really has, besides that initial huge battle, what was that, at Razi, the Southern Empire really has folded here, and it's been awfully quiet. Now, these cities are well defended. I imagine we're going to have a clash or two before this is all said and done. There's 1,100 defenders here, so just like these other city assaults, we are going to be methodical here. We're going to blow up their counter siege. We're going to add a fire catapult or two, and then we're going to launch our assault. Now, this time is good because we need the time to heal, right? You can see almost 400 injured. And they have a really good garrison. It's actually well suited for defense because it's like 150 elite archers. They've got some banner knights and shit too. This point I wanted to mention, Wazuban just got 330 medicine skill, right? You can see this guy is a brilliant intellectual steward of the kingdom, and he's now maxed out at medicine skill. What's this? We got some Southern Empire forces that are ready to slam themselves into our force here. Well, come get some. It looks like a big force too. Well, you guys can come slam your dick in the car door here and get obliterated like all the other forces that have tried so far. We welcome an assault here. Now oh shit. Fuck, 20. That's like 40. That's maybe 5,000. Motherfucker, this feels like an ambush. The AI rarely does anything that feels like a human opponent did it. And I can't help but wonder if this is a rescue attempt. We've had some escapees of our prisoners, but we still have the Empress, and we might lose this battle. There's a huge force of Southern Empire forces here. Are they all gonna arrive at the same time? That army broke, but they're still coming at us at the same time. So you know what we do here? This is the proverbial, we got the hostage, and they're coming in guns blazing. Well, you make it so that there's no fucking hostage for them to rescue, right? Right in front of all of their nobles, we will roll their Empress's head out onto the battlefield with the proverbial, the Matrix, right? Come get some, right? We're going to wave our hand at them, basically saying, we welcome more, you sons of bitches. If we're trapped, and we have no choice but to fight, well, we will sharpen our battle axe, right? We've got 50 some palace guards. Our other armies have more, and we're ready here for a titanic battle. Man, this is a lot though. That is just a fuck ton of Southern Empire forces, and indeed 5,000 Southern Empire forces are assaulting us here. So good, right? We welcome some epic battles here in the series. Even if we lose, I consider it okay. Obviously, I guess they could execute Wazuban because he just executed their empress right in front of them, rolled her head out to their fucking envoy, and said, nah, there's no peace talks here. Fuck you and your kingdom. We want war. We've got our pole sword. We've got a good army here. We've got some injuries, but most of our lords should be full health here. We've got a decreased taken melee attack damage banner for Wazuban, and he's got a gigantic list of perks. We also have most of our family members, right? We have Arwa, we have Rayma, Wazuban's wife, and we are ready for just another titanic clash here against the Southern Empire. This is actually optimal. And whoa. Here we fucking go. It's about fucking time we had a truly epic sand battle in this series. We've had a couple battles in the desert with sandstorms, but not one on this scale, right? Not one with 7,000 foes clashing. This is perfect. It makes visuals stunning, but difficult as a commander. But man, is this going to be a fucking epic battle, right? Fucking sand everywhere. I can't see the enemy. It makes it much harder as a commander to figure out what's going on, right? To read the terrain, it's very difficult because, of course, your visibility is dramatically reduced. Now, I do have a ridge here, right? I can see just enough that I have an elevational ridge here to put our main defenses back to withstand their initial fucking vanguard. But after that, we're really going to have to play this by ear. I don't have any kind of visuals on the landscape, right? I don't actually know the landscape. I don't know this battlefield well, so we're going to have to rely on Wazuban's killer instincts here, right? This is what separates the men from the boys, these kind of battles. So let's see. Strategically, I'm looking at my army here. Very similar to normal. I'll try to enumerate and explain all this. The third is shock troops. The sixth may be shock troops as well. We just don't have very many skirmishers. The fourth will be a crossbow division, so I can square them. The second's going to be cav, and I may dismount these guys. I may want more infantry behind this line with a bunch of dismounted horses. The horses will get in the enemy's way. That's a strategy guys have seen me employ before, especially with shield and shock. What you can do is you also have the infantry that comes off of there. I like that idea. Now the third division is entirely shock troops, all two-handed guys. So we'll give them a little space so we can put the second division in there. Look at this square, right? We have like 100 crossbow between elite crossbowmen and sergeant crossbow and whatnot. If we have a handful of Valandian crossbow, we have a full fucking 100 square of our crossbow. Of course, we do have the battle size mod running, so we have probably 700-800 troops, and the enemy's going to have 1,200 on the battlefield. Now, the 6th division is all shock troops, so it makes sense. The first has all the skirmishers, so it makes sense to me that we would do a double line of cav here. I can have the 8th Corps be astride the 2nd Corps here. They will still stay on their horses because that's all our best cav, jav cav, our nobles and whatnot. And then we can have two distinct, basically lines of shock troops with some javelin support here. The 1st division can be essentially our skirmishers pulled back from the main line because we will have these cavalry hold the front. So hopefully that all makes sense. The 8th Corps over here, it looks good. Like 3 men deep, really slow down enemy heavy cav charge. And of course the enemy's going to have a gigantic amount of cavalry here. The 6th division there. What I want is the 1st division to be close enough to hit the enemy with javelins. As they hit our lines, that 1st division will do major damage at range, and then the shock troops behind them. Of course, the 5th and 7th division in the back, our archers are going to do good work because this is a quasi-peekaboo ridge. Man, look at this fucking battlefield. This is awesome. I hope you guys are pumped too. I'm a little nervous. My hands are actually already sweating. That's not a good sign because, of course, it makes it difficult for me to control my units, right? You're fucking trying to swing your pole arm and your hand is literally shaking with adrenaline. So this always makes it harder for me. But like I said, this separates the men from the boys here, outnumbered by 3-1 here in really what seems like the culminating battle against the Southern Empire. And again, I remind you, I narrate all these live, so I just don't know how it's going to go. Fortunately, I'm playing at home, so there's no chance of a fire emergency. Man, it's just a gorgeous effect, though. This realistic weather mod really does make for incredible battle scenes. All right, so the second core's off. They're in a nice shield wall line there, and they have cavalry in front of them, right? That's going to slow down the enemy. On our right over here, we have all these archers and crossbow horse archers ready to pound the enemy, and the 8th Corps holding the line here, right? It's basically going to hold a solid wall of spears and shields facing the enemy. Now, we're on hold fire. I don't really want to waste a ton of ammo because they have a small amount of horse archers coming up, but I also can't let these guys just skewer us, right? So we're going to barrel in here, try to fucking shred most of these guys, scare them off, if anything. That way we can concentrate our fire. If we have 300 archers, I don't really want those guys using 5 or 6 volleys just to kill 30 guys. It's not efficient. And in a battle like this, not only must we be tactically smart, we must be efficient with our weapons, right? We're going to run out of crossbow bolts, etc. Now, these guys have no chance, right? It's basically lambs to the slaughter, but they're causing a lot of ammo to be used. So let's go ahead and hold fire here. There's their lord. Now, there was their lord. Temian eats shit, catches a javelin in the spleen, and the rest of them are sent packing here. Now, the cavalry got dispersed a little bit there, but that's still going to slow down the enemy, right? Anybody who's ran into a horse with their cavalry, with their horsemen, you just stop dead. So that's going to help this onslaught. And what an onslaught it is, right? Through the fucking blowing sand and sun effects, all I see is heavy horse just barreling up here. So again, we open fire here. This cavaline's doing a good job. Fuck, I gotta get out of here. These javelins are fucking smoking everything. Hopefully those infantrymen and shield wall do a pretty good job of holding off those javelins. And this is what I want to protect, right? Our archers. In fact, I think I'll pull our 8th Corps back here after they've absorbed the initial charge. We'll pull them back here so that we can add their swords and spears to the mix. And most importantly, stop the enemy from moving. The 2nd, 3rd, 6th, and 1st Division can all charge, right? These are all our infantry divisions. Since their enemy cav is right here and their wave has now been slowed down, we want these guys up here wailing away with us. Man, the death spam looks fucking amazing so far. Here's another enemy lord. Let's fucking ride her down. Man, they're tough. Oh shit, they already have archers over the ridge. All right, we got to get aggressive here. We may even have to pull our 8th Division right in the midst of this. Look at all their Imperial sharpshooters, or Imperial sergeant crossbow. We got to get the 8th Corps. Let's get the 7th Corps up here as well. Let's position them behind them. I know I'm talking 350 miles an hour. It's because I'm caffeinating, and this is a very important battle for us. I'm trying to explain to you guys all of my thought processes, and it's not always easy, right? All right, here comes the 8th Corps. That's going to fucking smother those archers. That'll keep those guys occupied till our infantry gets there. We've got horse archers now behind them. They already have reinforcements coming in, and we have a gigantic fucking crazy battle on our hands here. It is chaos, but it's beautiful chaos. And as long as that death spam looks like that, right, it's a good battle. This would be a devastating loss for us in this campaign because not only would they save the Empress, would have saved the Empress, but, they would recover their kingdom significantly. Yeah, they're not saving the Empress, right? They can save her body parts, I guess. All right, we're going to retreat again behind this line. Most of that wave is immolated. Now, we did get one reinforcement wave, so we suffered a fair bit of losses there, but that was a great exchange for us. We're undoubtedly out of a lot of javelins. The 2nd Division is now mixed with archers, but this ridge is so beautiful for us, right? It forced their archers to get within about 50 units there to shoot, and then, of course, we were on them immediately with heavy cav and shock troops. Those guys mostly retreated or got pulverized. It was bad. They got off maybe a couple, 3 rounds before they got skewered. Now these are their horse archers creeping in again, right? So again, if there's 10, I'm gonna let them just come in. But if there's 50 or 100, we will open fire. This like 20 or something, it's kind of right on the margin of when you want to open fire. I just got to conserve ammo, right? We just can't afford to fire 900 arrows at 20 guys. Now, through the shades of the sand there, I can see more troops coming. So some of these arrows are going to find other troops. In fact, a lot of them are horse archers. They got a lot of horse archers. I still got the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 6th. None of our divisions were annihilated, but obviously the 6th and the 1st are significantly reduced. And the 2nd, even though it looks like cavalry, you have to remember the 2nd is now infantry. We only have 2 cav divisions, right? We have eventually we'll have the 3rd Division will be a mix of shock troops and cav, but all we have is the horse archers and the 8th Corps. Now their horse archers continue to be skewered here in the back. Very nice of them to volunteer to fucking charge our shock troops. Thank you very much. That's like a fucking total gift. All right. That line's holding. The enemy does look like they're reforming because you can't see very far. Oh, here they come. You could just barely make them out in this sandstorm. Of course, the vanilla game really needed sandstorms. They didn't put it in. But thank goodness for modders, right? And of course, I recognize you poor console fellas. I don't know. Somehow go beg for money or whatever. Do what you got to do to get $700 and buy yourself a different gaming PC. Because look at this shit. This is fucking glorious. Southern Empire with their royal purple is pouring in here on our black and fucking red, and it is just a fucking maelstrom. We've got these guys butchered. They can't move. We've got so many different units here clogging them up that they're running over that ridge, getting slowed down, and then the rest of our troops are just butchering them. My health is in great shape, considering this is the second or third wave. Their guys are just stood up. I see Jawals fucking holding the line here with their camels. Attaboy. I hope it's, you guys can see okay in the sand, but understand, of course, that this is just, this is something I wanted in this campaign. This is only like the third battles in the sands we've had, and this is the biggest by far. It might be time to start going offensive again. They're starting to get crossbow right up on this ridge here, so I sent a cav division just to get in here and keep them occupied. Look at them all of a sudden put their crossbow down and pull their mace out. That's already a win for us. And I think so. Let's fucking bull rush through these guys. They're shooting at the ridge here? Fuck no, right? This is our fucking ridge. We're gonna hold this shit. They're starting to really fire down into our ranks here. We've got to get aggressive. I just took a nice deep breath because that's the most important thing in a titanic epic battle like this, right? Is to remain poised, right? We're doing well. Our strategy's working. Our tactical designs are definitely causing death. And we can start to move forward with this line here. We're going to be able to swallow up all these archers just by moving troops forward. And I think now it's time to start getting aggressive. There's two reasons. The first one is that we're almost out of ammo. So I've got a whole bunch of crossbowmen who have no bolts, right? That means they're basically infantry. The other reason is I will get reinforcements, but I want all our infantry out in front of them. If there's some chance our reinforcements come out in front of us here, I want to be ahead of them. In other words, between our reinforcements and the enemy. I don't want our reinforcements just being fucking cut off. So we're going to move forward just a bit here, hold the edge of this ridge. We've got some units with ammunition left, and kind of see what happens from there. We'll see what the enemy does, although it may develop into chaos here. The enemy's coming up sort of in broken lines, huge formations, but they're not all together, right? There's all kinds of skirmishing in the margins here, and you just can't keep track of all this. Even someone highly experienced like me, the chaos will eventually overwhelm you. I don't want to F1, F3 here. We're definitely going to be strategic, but all these crossbowmen, you see them just standing there? Those guys are all out of bolts. So let's give them some protection, right? They're just standing there holding their shields up. Let's give them the 8th Corps on the left, and what I'm going to do here eventually is form another cav division on the right, and we are going to do shield and shock all the way to victory, right? We are going to try to hold this and just barrel into the enemy. We've got a bunch of archers that are about to be out of ammo. They're either out of ammo or almost out. And what we want to do is basically plow the road with a bunch of heavy horse and big camels and shit like that. Not offensively, just in a big screen, right? It's like offensive linemen for your football team. We're going to plow the road with these fucking big horsemen, armored camels and shit, and then bring our units in behind them, right? All these crossbowmen. And then, of course, we're going to have real infantry and shock troops mixed in here as well. We'll start reforming our lines on this ridge. Whoever can shoot can keep shooting, right? We're not going to tell people to hold fire. We're just going to aggressively advance. There's nobody behind us on that ridge, so all of our units now are on this ridge facing the enemy. Facing down into, it's not a deep valley, but there's a bit of a valley below this ridge. And of course, the main benefit of that is our archers are now firing like they have theater seating, right? Everybody's got a nice line of sight. You can see all the archers in the 5th Corps firing away in here, scorching their horsemen. All right, our infantry lines are starting to get assembled. Pull these guys back just a bit. The 8th Corps is over here ready to go. We'll advance them in the 4th. And at some point soon, I'm going to get on the ground here with the men, right? Wazuban loves to get on the ground with the men, right? They fucking roar with excitement when he gets on the ground with them because they understand that he's not acting like a lord anymore, right? He's acting the soldier, and of course, it's a dramatically morale-improving effect. Look at all these archers. They actually are a little bit jammed up. It's probably better if we just have those guys charge, at least until we can get them on a flank. Our camels are moving forward. It's the 5th, 7th. Their archers here are shooting at us as well. God, my health is in great shape. A lot of battles like this, man, you get shot in the face. At Madeni Castle, man, I got skewered and then fell off the fucking ramparts. I may not even show that battle. That was so fucking sloppy. But here, we've done a magnificent job of bobbing and weaving. We've got some javelins still. I can't tell who's who. It's fucking chaos. Hopefully you guys just appreciate it for what it is, right? It's a chaotic battle. Battles aren't always just clean, like, oh, clearly you can see what's going on. And this fucking sandstorm is sick. All right, we've got a huge fucking knot of troops here. The crossbowmen are now charging up with cavalry, like I hoped. I'm going to pick off a few more archers here. See you in hell, and it's going to be time to get on the ground here. God, it's fucking glorious. All right, 5th Corps. Let's advance these guys. Almost all of those guys still have ammo. They're firing away. We'll get these guys up on the ridge here. The 8th Corps is not big enough. I'm going to have to steal horses when we get reinforcements so that we have 2 different cav lines here, right? I want to make sure that we have 2 different large cav lines to plow the road for our archers. It's too small a division right now for it to work well. And these archers, a lot of them I see holding up their shield or just holding their sword because they're out of ammo. Here we go. Beautiful. The 8th Corps now can get like 80 cav in the 3rd Corps. We now have 2 juggernaut cav divisions. Again, not for attacking. We'll be charging intermittently, but mostly just for pushing the fucking way, right? Plow the road, as I like to say, for our units. We've got another archer division that came in, the 2nd. So the 2nd and 5th are now shooting. The 3rd and 8th are holding cav shield wall lines here, and then the rest, it's kill them all, right? You just send troops aggressively. In fact, these archers can be told to charge. That way they're moving forward, right? They fucking roar as the enemy fucking holds their lines. Let's fucking join these boys on foot. Fuck yeah. All right, now what I'm going to do here with this cav division is just periodically push it forward on the enemy, right? Maybe 50 to 100 yards, just like that, right? And all I'm doing is basically saying, okay, you guys absorb the arrows, hold your shields up. We'll come in behind you with the fucking... It's like the opposite of what's normal, right? We're not waiting for the cavalry. We're pushing the cavalry first, and then we are the cavalry. The infantry and the shock troops here are acting as your killing devices. I can barely make out the left flank over there, and I can keep moving the 8th Corps forward, but it's almost impossible to see the whole battlefield. Fuck yeah, boys. Let's keep fucking rolling. Now, the power bar looks incredibly good, and so does the death span, right? Whatever we're doing good things here. It's just like the bedroom. If good things are happening, keep fucking doing the same exact thing. Shove in there. Keep moving up troops here. I'm trying to manage our reinforcements that are coming in. But this juggernaut meat line that we have right at the front here is fucking plowing the road. Now, there's quite a bit of death, right? We have some heavy blows here, but the enemy's gone through 3 or 4 waves now. They're for sure out of their elite troops. We're down to their middle-tiered units, and we still have some elite units. I still see fucking Imperial Sergeant Crossbow. I still see Palace Guards, and meanwhile, they have Imperial Equite being shredded. Let's fucking bore into these bitches. Archers, mid-tier archers, come get some. My axe has your fucking name written on it. Or at least your DNA once the blood is splattered all over it. Oh, it's a lot of enemy right here. Let's keep that horse line coming forward. But look at all these archers charging forward. That's good, right? That means that these guys are effectively joining the infantry press, and in we go. Splitting their skull. I can't believe how good a health state I'm in. Some battles you go down fast, other battles you just manage to weave and not catch a javelin in the face. their army really does look fucking disheveled. They're coming up slow. It's just the AI, but they really do look disconcerted. They have 3 times the forces that we do here, and they're just being liquidated. Let's get an arch division on a flank here, and we can have a small division of cavalry support these guys, right? Basically give them a line of defense, and now we're going to have heavy blows here. They're already down to middle tier infantry, too. This is a fucking massacre. They're going to have a lot of troops, so we can't let up here, but so far so good, right? We're fucking railing these guys. Our archers are trucking everything, right? Because they've got fucking support, and more importantly, our units are concentrated. Look at that shit. It looks like a steamroller. They're just eating up everything. Let's keep pushing our cav lines forward. As long as those cavalry push out in front, right? Those guys are going to absorb a lot of the arrows intended for our archers. And it gives your archers a shield, right? It basically gives those guys that big protection they need. Master archers and stuff like that, if they swing their sword, they do a decent job, right? They've got like 100 weapon skill. They're not hapless, but they're vulnerable, right? They don't have shields. If they have a whole bunch of cavalry in front of them, they're not vulnerable. The enemy is totally broken up here, too. Their lines are all shriveled, just like that guy. They're down in arm. I'm playing up here with the vanguard, but I'm doing that because I've got so much health. Now, on this side over here, we've got the 2nd Division, and I just keep on pushing them forward because some of those guys, I'm having them charge because some of them are also out of ammo. You see the crossbowmen especially charging because they don't have as many quivers, right? As many bolts. It's fucking carnage. What a cinematic scene. I mean, this campaign has already had like a dozen epic battles. This may be one of the best. Now we just got to close the deal, right? We got to fucking win this battle. They're pouring reinforcements up. Both sides are roaring and charging. Fuck you. Like a lot of these battles, though, when a kingdom is really reeling, right? Really reeling, or when they're really at the end of sort of their resources, these guys have tier 2 units. Just like Napoleon in 1814, these Southern Empire forces have recruited every single blacksmith and every single guy who can hold a shield and said, we need you for this, right? It's almost like you can role play. They're like, Askar is going to fall. That's where the main army is. We need all of our forces to converge. It actually reminds me a little bit of the Battle of Leipzig. Only, of course, Napoleon was defeated at Leipzig. This is like all of the enemy forces made an alliance, said we need to meet up at Askar and stop this fucking rampaging emperor. And if we're rewriting history here, this would be like Napoleon crushing them at Leipzig and then giving the Napoleonic Code to all of Europe after he's victorious. Still pushing this left side or right side. It's the only side I can control. I can keep moving these archers up and moving cav in their face because I can't see what's going behind me. I just know guys are advancing and charging with me, right? You control what you can control. They've got a ton of archers here in the middle. Oh shit, they just have reinforcements pop in, but those are fucking recruits. This fucking battle's over. Unless they have 3,000 recruits. We've got these bitches shredded. These guys holding up their sickle. They really did bring out every little farmer and blacksmith for this battle. So they might have outnumbered us 3-1, but we clearly have the higher quality troops here. And just like anybody who shopped at Walmart and then a nice quality store, LL Bean or whatever, quality always beats quantity. All right, I'm a little bit separated from my men here, but I'm just not worried. I have half my health bar. I've got a shield, and I've got 330 athleticism, right? I'll tear your limbs, bitches. I've got fucking peasants attacking me, and we're just going to make an example out of these bitches. Trying to avenge the Empress. Which one of you guys picked up her head? We want her head, actually. We just rolled it at you as an insult. We actually want it because we're gonna parade through the rest of the Southern Empire with her head at the front on top of our standard. Just like those fucking savage medieval like English kings who would dismember guys and then put their head on the London Bridge. We're gonna have the Empress's head on top of our standard as we stand victorious here. God, they still have more troops. Oh, I see our units boring in, though. We're suffering some losses here at the end, but I think we got this shit. Unless all of a sudden our units stop coming up as reinforcements, this is just a massacre of recruits. They must have 1,000 recruits in their army. Fucking blow the horns. Oh, there's a fucking lord. Kill this lord. Blow the horns, boys. We are victorious. Looks like they've got one vanguard of lords here at the back, desperately trying to hold the Southern Empire apart, or alive in this case. I was thinking apart. Let's rip them apart, right? Let's kill these fucking nobles. Split their skull. Fucking take their horses. Give me your horse, in fact. Where's this noble bitch? We're riding her down, wherever she is. There she is. Fucking kill her. We'll add her head to the pike. We may have to do some mass executions here. Look at, she's taking a huge abuse because, of course, she has like 400 hit points. Oh, look at her. She's running. Run this bitch down. There's going to be no escapees from this battle. Oh, shit. She's tough. She's definitely fleeing. A Jawal got up and speared her. Fuck no. If we have a chance to run her down, we're going to do it. You run there, coward. Yeah. Fucking beautiful finish to this battle. What a fucking incredible battle. Now, it wasn't as close as some of our more incredible battles, but for just sheer beauty and chaos and fucking obviously a successful battle, this is the pinnacle right here, right? This is smashing a force that outnumbers Wazuban 3-1, and we still have hundreds of troops here fucking celebrating. And what an incredibly picturesque cinematic battle this was. I've been just craving a big sandstorm battle, and here we go, right? With the carcasses of the Southern Empire just died on the battlefield here. All their flags are fucking blowing in the wind, along with the rotting and dead corpses of all these Southern Empire forces. This is like the Battle of Hattin for the Crusaders, right? Their glory and the flower of their kingdom died on the battlefield here. A couple hundred kills for Wazuban. Of course, his polearm. Oh, so he just hit the 275 bonus. That's even more beautiful. Almost an 8-1 KDR. The Palace Guards did amazing work. And we move on. We're taking all these bitches prisoner. In fact, we may have to do some mass executions. I'm aware that will destroy our relationships with everybody, including all the minor clans. So I'm a little bit concerned about doing that. We shall see. The Empress had to die, though, right? Her fucking conspiracy plot to kill Wazoo, this guy's father, she had to die. And that seemed like the appropriate moment, right? Rolling her head out there to the approaching vanguard of the Southern Empire. You're no longer rescuing anybody, right? Your Empress is dead. All right, some nice loot here. And I guess some of these other armies might attack 500, 600, 700. Let's just continue the siege and let them set the action. If they're dumb enough to attack with 500, we're really beat up. We've got a lot of injuries. In fact, we're probably down to lower tiered troops. But I don't mind a fight here, right? If the rest of them want to fucking slam their proverbial dick into the car door, and man, would that hurt. That would probably kill you in pain. We will let them. Come get some, right? 6, 7, they have like 700 here, and they do want to fight. Even though, I don't know if the garrison's not sallying out. This guy's, he's manifestly in a bad spot here. I have half a mind to auto-resolve this, but I don't want to have like Wazuban get killed in an auto-resolve. So I think we'll fight this, right? These critical battles here and these sequences, I can always edit this out later on. In fact, we will just fart here. No, I'm just kidding. I think it's still picturesque with all this sand. This sandstorm is still raging. I think we will continue on here. Now, what's interesting is before that battle, I don't remember seeing a sandstorm. So all of a sudden, of course, these events can occur immediately. There's no build-up. All of a sudden, we're in a giant sandstorm here at Askar. And obviously, it's still raging all around us. Now, there's no strategy here. I don't need to do any strategy. F1, F3 would work just fine here, but I'm still going to do just some basic tactics here since we're playing this out. Cut down these Southern Empire forces, and partly I'm like catching my breath, right? That was a momentous situation there for us to execute the Empress, to have their forces get defeated like that in such a dramatic fashion, outnumbered 3-1. I'm looking up at my recording. It says it's still recording. Thank goodness, right? That means that whole battle I'm going to be able to share with you fellas. That would be a crime if we had that battle and I had to replay it. Sometimes sandstorms are so random, you may not get the same effect. So nevertheless, you guys should be able to, well, you probably are already able to enjoy that fucking beautiful sand battle. And that may be the only big battle in this whole campaign, right? The Southern Empire really is, this is their absolute death knell, right? These are like their pitiful last forces, desperately, you know, sort of heroically trying to hold up against our army here. And there's not going to be any heroism here, right? Wazuban is going to wade into the back of their forces here. There's a lot of peasants. They got one brave lord charging him. You're going to get skewered there, Mattis. Come get some, right? Just drilling him with javelins, and then he gets carved down by his axe. And Wazuban wades in here, right? Let's teach these fucking peasants. We're going to show the other peasants of Askar that they really do want to be loyal to our kingdom, right? Otherwise, this is what happens to you, right? If you fucking ally with the enemy, you end up being dismembered in a sandstorm, and the crows fucking pick at you for a week, right? We're not going to waste our time here with the dead. Let them lie. Fertilize the sand. He says, I'll tear your limbs as the guy's limbs are flying off. These guys, of course, they block everything. Little archers and shit. Just fucking, these guys are all better warriors than legionnaires. And the massacre is on. I got the trusty mute button here to rescue you guys from a sneeze. I've learned these little things, right? You can still reach up with half a finger and hit the mute button. You guys will notice occasionally when my guy just stands there, and that's because I've got to fucking stifle a cough or something like that. All right, so come with us, right? The rest of these dipshit Southern Empire forces, a bunch of prisoners. I don't think we're going to bother with any prisoners. We're actually overloaded because we have so many injured. And it's on now to the siege of Askar, right? This city has been a bugaboo for us. If you remember a long time ago, of course, Mata was captured at Askar by a huge Valandian force. We're getting a little autosave here, which is good. That means if somehow we crash on this siege, I wonder if it's still going to be sandstorm. This sandstorm is just raging. And the effects are cool. There's little tiny, like little aberrations where it's sort of, you can see the graphical effects, but man, it's still a cool effect. And I'm not going to change anything here, right? We're going to continue to siege like we were going to do before. We're going to take out their counter siege. That way we don't suffer a huge amount of losses here. Right? We've got other cities to take, and based on that battle, there still may be another battle against the Southern Empire here before their last whimpering. Right? We're going to try to exterminate them. In this, well, I was going to say this episode, in this campaign, right? We're going to try to annihilate them down to the last person, because the last thing we want is to have a couple of Aserai cities causing carnage, right? We want to annihilate them, remove them from the board, and move on to either Valandia or Sturgia. It'll kind of depend what happens with Sturgia in the north, right? Do we get any of our armies up there to handle Sturgia? Can they get up there and at least play defense so that we can continue rampaging here against the Southern Empire? Now, one other thing I'm planning on doing that should help us here is we're going to create one more clan, one more minor clan. I have a couple candidates. I'm not entirely sure who I'm going to do. Probably this guy that's commanding one of these armies here. He's Mr. Dwashal the Falcon or some shit like that. He's got some decent skill sets, and importantly for Wazoo, who's playing that he's a nationalist or whatever. He wants all Aserai clan leaders. He doesn't want some Valandian British looking gal in charge of one of his clans here, right? We're not doing the whole racism thing as part of the commentary, but we're role playing that Wazuban really does want an all Aserai leadership. He doesn't trust others, right? We've already had betrayal, and so he wants all Aserai clan leaders. Now, we do have these lake rats that are part of our clan, or part of our kingdom. But that's okay, right? We've tried repeatedly to get the Gilman, but they keep leaving us. And the Beni Zilal, there's some real questions as to their loyalty, right? Repeatedly, they leave us right before battle, sometimes right during a siege. So the Beni Zilal, we'll just put it to you this way, on a role-playing level, Wazuban has some spies looking into their loyalties, right? Ostensibly, they're fighting with us, but in reality, it really feels like at times like they're betraying us. All right, so in we go here to Askar. This should be a smashing, but you just never know. This city has a really interesting defense layout, and it'll be interesting to see if the AI can put up a good defense here. I probably will include this just because this is sort of a culminating, this is probably all going to be one episode here, right? Based on that monster battle against the Southern Empire here where they tried to stop us from doing this. We are now going to, well, almost certainly, I was going to say we may not. We're going to succeed here. It's just a question of how many losses we take. What was that? I think we got hit by that might be a ballista. I can't remember if they have one catapult. I thought we destroyed all their catapults, but they had some counter siege. I think they got a ballista. It's another incredible looking battlefield. I mean, what can you say about this other than it's gorgeous, right? It's like the after effects from a sandstorm. The lighting is super unique. There's this sort of smoky sunset, sun afternoon here as we roar up again to take another gorgeous Aserai kingdom. Of course, I'm playing in the Pacific Northwest of the United States where it rains every day, so you'll have to forgive me if I appreciate some dry ground here and some sunsets and shit like that in what seems like a little bit of an overexcited amount. We miss the sun. That's all there is to it. Seasonal affect disorder, or in the United States, SAD. That is a thing, right? Especially the guys who live up north. And most people don't know, even Americans don't know, but Seattle is the most northern big city. I mean, I guess unless you count like Bellingham or something. As far as major states or major cities, Seattle is the biggest city and most northerly city in the lower 48, right? So a lot of people look at a map, and your typical map is not real accurate, by the way. Like, what I mean by that, of course, the orientation of what's east and west is right. Of course, Oregon's to our south and stuff like that. But when you look at a map, it looks like New Hampshire and Massachusetts and Vermont is much north of Seattle, or maybe at least equally. It's not even close, right? It's like an hour of daylight north. Seattle has much shorter days than places like Massachusetts. So it really is dark and rainy here, right? The reputation is well deserved. It has literally rained like 30 out of 32 days here. And the 2 days it didn't rain, it was like overcast. All right, so we've already shoved our way up on the wall, right? We're kicking champions off the walls and telling these guys, what's up? This is our fucking city. Get out of here, you scum invaders, Southern Empire. And now we're going to start seizing this inner courtyard. This is a really unique castle design, or city design, and I wish there were more like this, right? It has this inner large sanctum, or I guess you could call this an outer sanctum, outer courtyard, and then there's a whole other wall where the defenders can hold a second line. That said, you can access the inner line from the direction we were just heading, right? Basically, there's the door, which they're foolishly opening. Oh, one guy came in. You're the dipshit. They send one dipshit in here. I don't know what he thinks he's doing. And then they close the door on him. Maybe that was a medieval practical joke. They're like, hey, Sal, let's go charge. You ready to charge? All right, charge. All right, guys, hold back. Look at Sal, so dumb. He's charging. As soon as he came through, they closed the door on the poor fuck. He's like, what? Wait a minute. I'm mauled by an axe. That's medieval practical jokes, right? All right, we'll blow this door open here, but I'm not going to go through this door, right? We're going to try to use the upper stairway platforms there if we can. Now, these motherfuckers try to throw rocks on me. They did. They threw a rock right next to me, motherfuckers. I'm trying to bob and weave here so I don't get hit over the brain. Oh, shit, these guys are pouring out, yelling die at me and shit. I don't think you guys wanted to charge out here. Very bad decision. It was almost like they were penned up, like I had to open the door for them. But they just got smart. Them coming out here is fatal. They're going to get destroyed if they play with us in the courtyard. This is the kiddie games down the street, boys. You're going to want to hide there. Oh, shit. They've got tons of forces rallying on the ramparts up there. We had forces up there. I guess they destroyed them. Or I misclicked or something. We're going to have to seize this shit. They're pounding us with archers. Now, we have a lot of archers here, too. But they are definitely firing down into the courtyard here with pretty nasty effect. Of course, we're using the first-person perspective. I'll do this at times. God, look at this fucking scene. It's gorgeous. It just absolutely feels, this campaign more than any I've played so far, feels like a fucking incredible epic movie. And I'm very thankful for the mods, for all you mod makers out there watching this. I'm very thankful for the realistic weather mod. I'm thankful for the battle size mod. And I'm very, very fortunate here that the system that I'm running, right, the computer system I'm running, which is not a juggernaut, has been able to handle this in a glorious manner, right? We're playing at 4K graphics at 60 frames a second, and obviously that makes it feel even more real. All right, we smashed our way through those archers. Eventually, those guys melted away, and now we're going to use the inner defenses here, right? These walls that overlook all the enemy troops down there, we're going to get archers spread out here as soon as we can, right? These guys running with me. These guys are infantrymen, probably charging. The enemy must have troops over here that they're charging, and our guys are blowing through the gate too, right? So the enemy's in a really bad pinch here. They've got a ton of enemies over here on the left side of the keep. But let's get our archers set up here to fucking fire shots down into the valley to help those infantrymen, although it doesn't look like they need it. Our troops are skewering everything in sight. And you guys are starting to see the effect of the 330 medicine skill. I mean, we've had it for a while, and what I mean by that is, 322 medicine skill is not that different than 330. But the full 330, right, all of our troops have somewhere between 180 and 220 hit points. And you can tell on the battlefield. I know we're killing a lot of militia here, but they had good-looking troops too, especially like when they were shooting down on us in the courtyard, and we destroyed those guys, right? It was a massacre. There is no definitive best single perk for a character. The debate will go on forever because of all the unique parts of Bannerlord, whether it's charm, and some guys are like, yeah, but I can make enemy nobles. We'll assume a different voice here for this guy. But yeah, man, I can assume enemy nobles, and they will then fight for me, man. Clearly, you don't have charm. That's an inferior perks. Well, for my style of play, which is combat and leading armies and tactics, this is, if it's not a perfect perk setup, it's near perfect, right? Not only is Wazuban, oh shit, I was trying to tell my story here and fell off the wall. Well, he is Wazu's son, right? We'll get back up there. But to finish that point, not only is Wazuban an absolutely lethal beast on the battlefield, right? With 280 polearm, 280 throwing, 280 two-hand, 330 athletic, 330 riding, but he's also basically the best possible battlefield commander you can have, right? There's a few leadership perks we're missing, but he's got some good tactics skills as our troops here just devour what's left of this Southern Empire force. I don't need to fight this out. We will just do the old flyover here. But most importantly, right, he can carry a large army because of the steward skills. They're cheap. They don't eat very much food. There's all the benefits you get from those perks. And then again, most importantly, these two aspects. First, siege. We destroy enemy siege defenses, right? Their catapults get pulverized. Our trebuchets and shit are built at like maximum speed. Our siege towers are hard to destroy. We pulverize all the anti-siege. We basically own the enemy in siege, and then once our troops hit the battlefield, these guys are lethal, right? Not only are these good high-end troops with good captains, but they have an extra 70 to 100 hit points. And the result is this, right? We just floored these defenders here on another absolutely picturesque battlefield. I know I keep emphasizing that. But thank you, Fate, for providing us these playgrounds here for this campaign. 50. I can wrap this episode up here. I think I got to piss. You guys, you learn these little intricacies here. We're going to do this little inner thing just to make sure we don't fail here. But at a minimum, we're going to take a break after this. Of course, we're going to have to resort some of our units, get this city garrison filled back up, and the threat is managed, right? We destroyed that large Southern Empire force. This one militia here can't hit them. We destroyed that large militia force, and Oh shit, dude. Sorry about that. Dwayne of the Zawal. We smoked him in the back of the head with the javelin. That's not going to improve our relationships against the Beni Zalal, right? We know there's some issues here with the Beni Zalal, and maybe that's gonna be the fuse that lights the explosion here between their clan and our kingdom. Of course, the game, they don't actually take offense to that, even though you smoke him. He might even get killed in combat here. They fucking burned the throne, man. We're going to have to rebuild this shit here. But ultimately, Askar is ours. And I'm going to take a little break here, right? We will, like normal, we will load the garrison here. I will redistribute some troops. We will put some more food here so that the city, all the peasants love us, right? It's bread and circuses. In fact, we will bring in the circus. We will put Regaea's head on the fucking front entryway to the city, just to let all these peasants know what happens when someone betrays us, and we will move on. All right, a little bit of after narration here as I save you some of the less exciting parts of this campaign. We continue to cruise through the Southern Empire, or I really should say that we continue to cruise through former Aserai territory, as ironically the Southern Empire owned most of the territory that was originally owned by the Southern Empire. I will mention some tidbits along the way here. I skipped altogether the siege of Barihal Castle. We took Barihal Castle with a blitz. We lost maybe 50 troops. And it was on to Ain Balik. I think Ain Balik is a decent pronunciation of it. And we will give you sort of the ESPN highlights of this keep siege, including literally hacking the legs off of the guys climbing the ladders. Most of these castles with 300 or 400 defenders are really no more than a speed bump and an opportunity to pound on some peasants for Wazoo and his company as we take out our anger on these militia helping the Southern Empire scum hold on to our cities and castles. I do want to mention that was a really interesting part of this campaign, and it is effectively over now, at least not the campaign, but the part where the Southern Empire took all of the Aserai territory. Now, they never held every single Aserai city and castle, but they held the vast majority of them, which was a really interesting twist in this campaign. Our kingdom, I wanted to mention that Jasid of the Jawal guy died in combat. We haven't actually had a whole lot of losses in combat, and I am, in between episodes here, I am going to increase the death for all mod so that there's more death for everybody, right? Raise the stakes here a little bit as we get towards the crescendo of this campaign. Here's another thing I did that I wanted to show, of course. This guy here, Joshal the Falcon, has not been in our kingdom very long, but we decided to make our third player clan. That seems like a reasonable number to have our own clan and then 3 additional, whatever you want to call them, mercenary clans. They're not mercenaries per se, but these are former companions that we have now turned into clans within our kingdom. So Piercing Talons, another less than unique name for this clan. Doesn't really matter at this stage. Just know, though, that we have our third player clan with Emir Dashal. Now, we gave him a bunch of money. We're doing this to all the clans, too. I would encourage you to do this if you can afford it, because what it will do is it will allow them to recruit elite troops and make large armies, right? This way they can have at their cities that they're in charge of, in this case, Razi, they can have their garrisons recruiting as fast as possible, right? Because they have the funds to do so. And we also gave him a castle. Actually, we gave him 2 castles. We gave him Shibble Zoomer Castle and Tamnu Castle. That way, this guy has some castles that he can draw on, has some villages that are connected to his little quasi-empire within our kingdom. This is a very important part of a campaign, is if these guys have no fiefs, it's much slower for them to gather armies. We're facing threats all over the place, and we want these other clan members working for us, right? Working hard. So Ain Balik Castle down, Barihal Castle down. We still have a very large army, right? We're continue to recruit at villages along all the way, which includes some villages that are owned by the Southern Empire, where it's give us your troops, right? Motherfuckers, you will give us troops. It's almost easier, in fact, to get troops that way because they just give you usually 8 to 15 troops for free. Now, just some base highlights here. We had our scout doing a little sniffing because there's some suspicious shit. There was a Southern Empire force that head in this direction that said following so-and-so's party, right? So we obviously, what we knew at that stage is that there was a large army being formed. and we wanted to follow them. Now, the Aserai continue to play up here. We continue to keep an eye on the Aserai and the Northern Empire. Not the Northern Empire, the northern part of our empire. And that is because we have one of our companion armies that's rather small up here. They were able to defend Skala Castle, right? So again, I would say these armies, our companion armies, are about 15-0. They have never been captured in this campaign. I don't know if I can go the whole campaign without them being captured. That would have to be some kind of record. But at this stage, I'm at least going to be doing my best to encourage their continued success. I can talk a little bit about that during the in-between parts here. Some of this, of course, I've fast-forwarded. We did a little bit of trapping. We of course, assigned all the castles to ourselves. I usually give out plums later on, and then as I take cities and castles, every single one of them I snatch up for the Jarl. So we had tracks of a large army, and at this stage, all the tea leaves were there to be read. It was pretty obvious. If a large army is heading this direction, they are heading for the city of Askar. Now, another big sandstorm here. I was kind of hoping it would be another huge force of the Southern Empire, 3,000 or something, for us to have another huge sand battle. Although we already had a battle in this area. It might even be the same battlefield, and I didn't... ultimately, of course, they just had a force of 1,200. Also, it looks like the sandstorm was just a little bit to the northeast of us, so it didn't affect us. Of course, I allowed all these dipshit armies, come on in, right? You can come all in and join the fucking party here. Even though the power bar gave them almost a 50% chance to fight, I did not... well, you're not going to see most of this battle because, frankly, it was just a disaster massacre for our side. I've mentioned it before. When armies, even with the Strengthen AI mod, of course, depending on your settings, when they are fresh like this, in other words, when they just came out of the tavern and all these guys just got some armor, they have a lot of weak troops. And this had maybe 300 or 400 woodsmen and tier 3 archers, tier 2 archers, and of course, predictably, our fucking highly veteran, almost perfect, and what I mean by that, almost the perfect makeup, at least in my opinion, for an Aserai army. When we met, it was just a massacre. So you get just a little bit here at the end, just for the visual effects. I'm trying to show most significant battles in the campaign, although obviously at this stage it doesn't really matter. Incurred a little bit less than 400 casualties, and moved on from that, right? The Southern Empire is desperate now to try to get some momentum going. A few minutes later, we headed back to Sanala, our next target, and they were forming up yet another army. Of course, the AI is notoriously trappable, right? So we just did a little bit of baseline trapping here. You just release this guy, release that attack dog, and the next thing you know, all the opponent armies are cornered and trapped. Obviously, the AI does a really poor job of anticipating an intelligent trap, any kind of a trapping maneuver, and the AI generally gets butchered. So some parts of this I've sped up, other parts I've just kind of let it play out. And I can talk about some other interesting elements of the campaign that are sort of happening behind the scenes. Of course, Valandia remains the overwhelming strongest force in the game. We're starting to catch up, though. I would say we have about 15 cities and maybe 10 to 12 castles. So we're about half, or maybe 2/3 the size of the Valandian Empire. Meanwhile, Sturgia is probably in third place. Sturgia of the Western Empire, they're both sizable, and they're having a little resurgence while we're away from our homeland. But both of those kingdoms are also not a real big material threat at this stage. Of course, in this campaign, we've already mauled both kingdoms, really. But for sure, Sturgia, we dealt them a savage series of haymakers 7-8 episodes ago and really pushed them back hard. Obviously, I wanted to focus on one kingdom at a time, and that is a big part of campaign strategy, especially with the Strength in AI mod. And the simple reason for that is that as kingdoms start to expand, their growth becomes geometric. And what I mean by that term in this case, I'm referring to the fact that they double in size and double in strength. Instead of getting 30% stronger once a month, they double, right? With the Strength in AI mod, they get a huge amount of troops. All of their lords are artificially getting troops. And so especially important to treat these guys just like dandelions in your yard. If you've never heard of that analogy, I'll explain that in a second. I do want to point this out, though. The Valandians haven't made an assault in a while, and here they're sieging Poros. We've got all these sandstorms raging. They're sieging Poros, even though we have 1,100 defenders there. And part of the reason I'm pointing that out is because a really interesting thing, that it's happened before, but a really interesting thing happened at Poros that I want to show you guys again. So dandelions, if you've never heard of that analogy here, as we crush our way through Sanala. Sometimes you can actually jump up on the siege tower before it arrives. It's kind of cool. I'll show you some highlights here of us smashing through Sanala, but again, this will be 45 seconds of a massacre, as no city of 800 defenders is going to stop Wazuban and his wrecking ball army, right? The Legion de Boom gets on the walls and everything gets shredded. Not to mention Wazuban himself is becoming a complete, has become a complete terror on the battlefield. I've gotten very comfortable with his weapon loadout. Of course, he doesn't have 330 weapon skill like Zuvan, so he's not maxed, but damn is he close, right? When you add in the fact, of course, that his troops have those medicine skills, I think I could make an argument that his army is at least comparable to Zuvan. And if you're like, who the fuck are you talking about, Zuvan? Zuvan was a clan leader of my previous campaign, and he was level 55 and just a wrecking ball. But he didn't have 330 medicine skill, and so his troops didn't have all those massive hit points. I think I could definitely make an argument that Wazuban here is an overall comparable, if not even stronger, army. Never heard that scream before as we butcher our way through here. It's almost like the citizens of Sanala here were screaming and running for the hills. But the dandelion analogy, since I mentioned it, I want to wrap that point up. If you have a yard with lots of dandelions, if you move to the suburbs and you get your first lawn and you're out there mowing the lawn and you got some dandelions you want to get rid of, you never want to go out and pick half the dandelions. It's a total waste of time because they just proliferate. They make seeds incredibly quickly, and you get more dandelions. You want to wipe them out completely. Now, these looters here, I just included this because I always think it's funny. Anytime you can take advantage, these guys were beating on these poor looters, right? These poor robbers, and we came in while they're all disorganized and just pounded them over the head. We haven't been really taking advantage of these large looter bands. It's been an interesting element in this campaign to have these large looter bands running around. They will capture armies, right? It's 600 to 700. I've even seen 1,100 looters in one case. And obviously, they can certainly capture an army of 200 with 1,100. The Siege of Ubqua here. Again, just another blitz, a blazing fast castle assault, but this is one of the things I wanted to show you. Poros is being defended by Urgion, Cole. I stared at this for a minute and I was like, what is happening here? Is being defended. Cole is me. No. Now, and then I finally remembered who it was. I was like, oh, Cole, Ceramus, these names. I was like, okay, I think I know who that is. Those are Botanians, right? And sure enough, Cole is a Botanian. And they don't like Valandia either. So it says it's being defended by so-and-so. Again, this happened earlier with the Aserai. In this case, your enemies are your friends, right? The Botanians and the Valandians are also at war. And so they were helping us at Poros there. And you shall see the results soon. I think you can imagine the results if they're making a defense of it. Here, the Siege of Ubqua. I'm only showing you, again, some highlights, some funny highlights, just chucking thousands of rocks into the enemy. This city, or at least this castle, has a bunch of rock piles, and if the defender doesn't use them, of course, we will, right? Cole, all the characters, Wazuban, Zuvan, all of my characters, I love chucking rocks at the enemy. When I was a kid, I got into trouble repeatedly for throwing rocks through windows. I was throwing it like across the whole playground and hitting a school bus hundreds of feet away. I had a cannon of a throwing arm and evidently too much testosterone. Right? So I never went to prison or anything like that, but I went to detention a few times. Right? We had a good throwing arm. We liked to throw rocks then, and as you can see, I still like to throw me some rocks. Now, this is kind of funny. This is the defenders of the city, and I was just pounding them with their own rocks. I must have killed 100 of their defenders just by throwing their own rock piles on their head. Ultimately, Ubqua Castle was ours as well. I'm probably dragging this one out just a little bit longer than normal, but there were a few things I wanted to mention in here, and we will wrap this episode up with this last 2 minutes here. The results of this really strange encounter here. Friends where you least expect it, right? We're rampaging on the other side of the map, and lo and behold, back in our homeland, we're being assaulted. The Sturgeons are attacking us. The Western Empire is attacking us. And here at Poros, the Valandians are attacking us. And what do you know, right? The Botanians, who are down to like 1 or 2 castles in one city, they're interfering here. And you can see the numbers 4 and 1. We have virtually no defenders at Poros. You can picture like 3 guys holding the gate, and there's all these nasty Valandians pounding on the wall. And outside the city, right, in that scenario, the Botanians are backdooring them, right? The term that we always used in the Dark Age of Camelot was ass jamming. You can see more. Poros is being ass jammed by Furcrid's party. Even good old Caladog is in here attacking the Valandians, which is even fits the storyline a little bit because, of course, his daughter is married into our clan, right? So Botania is not an ally per se, but this entire campaign, we've been at peace with them almost the whole time. The entire time that we've been our own kingdom. We have never had Botania declare war on us, even though they were close a few times. I was a little surprised they did never declare war on us. It's almost like the AI understands, hey, my daughter is married into that clan. Let's go ahead and be at peace with them. I'm sorry for those guys who wanted to see a clash versus us versus Botania. They are being swallowed up slowly by Valandia. But at least in this battle here, and to our benefit, the Valandians were captured by the Botanians. A pretty wonderful, wonderful thing here with, 5 defenders left or whatever at Poros. All right, so we're going to wrap this episode up. I've probably lost most of your attention by this stage. But wanted to show you a few of the critical things that were happening here at the end of this campaign. And what I mean by this campaign, of course, is our assault of the Southern Empire. Quayaz is all they have left, right? Quayaz and a castle or 2, and that is coming soon. Of course, if you want to see more from this campaign, you want to subscribe, fellas, please put on notifications. If you want to see when episodes are released, I appreciate you, fellas. With all that said, I will talk to you guys next time.